Yo, it's go time, showtime, never backing down time. One shot, yo, make it count, yo. Crunch time, shine time, make this moment my time. Get a grip, yo, ready, set, go. We bring the thunder, bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's go. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's go. Yeah, it's my time, yo time. Step into the spotlight. Get lit, yo. Let yourself go. On time, high time. Gotta go big time. This is it, yo. Never take no flight time. Grind time. Take it to the street time. Turn the roof off. Get loco. Game time, win time. We gon' bring it home time. No regrets now. Let it all go. We bring the thunder. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's go. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's work.
Well, good evening, y'all. I'm Aeson Knight. Of course, with me tonight is Techy Joe. Yay!
Hello, hello.
Hey, guys.
We are here. This week is finally over.
Always. But it's just beginning, technically. Today's a weird day.
How so? How's your day been weird?
Well, it's been weird because we're packing to go. Because, of course, I have an event tomorrow. I'll be at the Anchorage. And you know, we haven't done that for 2 years.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's been a hot minute.
It's been a hot minute. And you know, now things have changed because now it's like, okay, we're planning to take lunch and we're planning, got to make sure everybody's took care of. There's a new puppy to make sure that, the babysitter's here for, and, they're all prepped and ready to handle them. And it's just a lot of difference.
There's a lot of different things. So, yeah, but then again, it's also the same thing. We've done this before.
We've done it before, but it's like, okay, before we had a work bag and we had, a show bag and we had an overnight bag and all of them were just pre-packed and we just needed to go and refill. Now,
absolutely. I've got to switch headphones, guys. I don't know what. Oh, I grabbed the wrong headphone. I think that's what happened. Okay, hopefully I have better sound now.
Hopefully.
Yes, much better, much better.
There you go. Now you can get involved in the conversation. Ooh. For a minute there, I was like, I am going to have to clean his ears tonight.
No, I was getting this really bad garbling. It was just, like, I could hear you, but not really.
No, you couldn't. It's your everyday, not really. But no, it's like, where did we put, like, where is this? And where is that?
Did you even grab my shower kit? Have we even figured out if my toothpaste has expired?
Your toothpaste has expired, and no, that's on the list for me to do after the show.
Oh gosh, that's so sad. No, I mean, because we were basically ready to go at any moment, because we were going so much.
Right.
And then slowly over 2 years or the better part thereof, stuff just drifted out of the bags. We put the bags away. We buried the bags in closets. We quit expecting to take bags to go anywhere.
Well, it's like normal. I had to have the invisible assistant go out and clean out the car. And I'm like, I don't care if it lives there now or not. It has to come out.
Okay.
Yeah, because, used to, by now, my show set would have already took over the trunk of the car.
Well, yeah, and would have pretty much lived there.
Yeah.
But then again, other things have been living in the car because they were more reflective of what we were going out to do.
Yeah, like going to the beach.
Yeah, we had our little beach chairs and our little, baggies in case we were like, hi, we're just going to go to the beach now.
Yeah, like, I've had enough of the office. Take me out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. I've got 2 events. I'm going to be at the Anchorage in Marietta, Ohio. There are still openings available. The last moment I checked, I think we were down.
We're in single digits, though.
Yeah, we're at 7 openings. So yeah.
if you're planning on doing a walk-in tomorrow,
See, Joe.
I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. Don't plan your walk-ins, man. Granted, there's always, now I say that, and then I'm like, well, but typically we always have like one that doesn't show. And
Well,
you like,
typically walk-ins aren't a problem for me because it's like, yeah, okay, I've got this appointment and this appointment. Here's the pads, make them sign up before they get here, and just seat them.
yeah. Well, and then also the way that event is scheduled is in 3 20-minute blocks per hour. So technically there is room for a fourth appointment. It just means Aeson doesn't get a break.
And
So we can
okay.
only do so many of those before, Aeson makes everyone cry.
Yeah.
Because like his delivery becomes, yeah, he's crap. This is over, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, nope, not getting it. Moving right along. Like, no. Like, get me to a cigarette. Like, you can get a reading in 5 minutes, though, at that point.
Well, no, at that point blank, if we get to that point, I will look at you very kindly and say, Joe, you need to hold everything for 10 minutes and come in here. This is going out there. I'm going to be reading on the porch.
Hey, there you go. That works, too.
Yeah.
No, we haven't had to pull that. We've thought about it.
Yeah. In the early days, I used to read on the porch.
Oh, that's right. I do remember the one event we did on the porch. That was actually nice.
Yeah. That was enjoyable.
Yeah, that was, I think, the last time because now the one thing with the Anchorage is it has or the last time we were there, now things may have changed, but it had neither heating nor cooling.
Right.
And so that means if it's really hot outside, I will guarantee you it's going to be really, really warm inside.
Yes.
Depending upon airflow and if they got the windows open right.
Yeah.
Because that house actually is designed
to have AC.
Yeah, well, like, yeah, if you bottom open the lower windows and you top open the upper windows, it'll pull air through it.
Right. And you open the basement, which is the cooling section, and you've got cool air all day. That's how people got away with those big, long hoop skirts.
Yeah.
Without fainting too often.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
But then it also means, though, like our last winter visit to them, whoo, we froze.
You froze. I'm sitting back there fanning, which I've got to make sure to pack my fan.
That's true. I was sitting in the unheated portion. Like, I'm just sitting there with my little notepad, freezing to death. Like, I think we were an hour in, I could no longer feel toes. I was like, I'm going to have frostbite. Thankfully I didn't. It was okay.
Yeah. So I think we're going to take on techie news first.
Yes. Which techie news do we want to start with? The Galaxy 4, like, it's all Samsung.
Yeah, we're going to talk We're going to talk Samsung bullshit.
Well, yeah, basically.
I have never been so disappointed in a launch in my life.
Well, on the disappointment side, I can understand that because, like, okay, so on the watch specifically, that's your biggest disappointment.
Ashley's question, yes, I will be at the Anchorage in Marietta, Ohio this weekend. But anyhow.
But yeah. So the Galaxy Watch 4, they had been touting they were going to come out with a version that would let you check your blood sugar. You had been really, really excited about that. And then they, like, backed that up.
Yeah.
And went, no, not this one.
Yeah, they're not going to be doing the blood sugar thing. It's basically a Google-enabled version of the Galaxy Watch 3.
Actually, it's a little more than that. Here's the thing, though. Because Google originally came out with Wear OS. And a lot of companies tried to jump on that bandwagon, and then it just didn't do what they wanted it to. It wasn't, all that useful. So Samsung specifically made a really nice OS for their watches. I believe Titan, something like that, is what they've been running. So what happened with the 4 series is Google and Samsung got back together. And these are actually Wear OS 3 devices. Like, Google decided to sit down, shut up, and listen for a minute to what it was that was, killing their adoption rate and why no one really wanted to do a Wear OS based device. I can kind of more so understand now why they weren't really able to get there on the blood sugar component. I think if they had stayed out of the Wear OS portion of it, we would probably have the blood sugar component. But having to go back and get Google to rework an OS, I can understand that one. So I would say that's probably in the works for either the next release of their watches, or a little further down the road at this point. Right. But it gives the additional benefit that if we can get Samsung and get a good, like, solid commitment by Google on their Wear OS. To actually produce a meaningful operating system for smartwatches, that you'll actually more likely see more companies adopt. And you'll end up with, if Samsung is trying to get a functional blood sugar measurement out of the Wear OS, then probably what you'll see is, like, Fitbit can do it if they decide to go to Wear OS. Amazfit, all the other watch companies can equally offer the same. That's going to be a good thing. That means they can offer a device, they can be competitive on price, and they can actually potentially bring Samsung down a little bit in price.
Possibly. Now, we do have, and Ashley asked if Apple has updated on the blood sugar thing. No, they have not yet. We probably will not know for sure till September during their launch. And yes, I will be watching it too.
Yeah. Well, Wear OS is the name of the Google version of the OS. It's basically Android, but really pared down to smartwatches.
Yep.
And I always struggle. Samsung is just going back to it.
Right.
And
hi, Brenda.
Like, this has been out for a while. Like, Wear OS, like, it may only be version 3, but this has been out for a while. Like, Google had a great idea. It's just its execution was kind of crap.
Right.
And it really limited how much companies could do. Like, they pared it down, but they pared it down to the point that everything was going to be identical.
Right.
And that, of course, Samsung never likes that.
Right.
Like, they really hate that. Samsung is not doing blood glucose.
Yeah.
They are not. But that has to do with, they went with Wear OS 3. So they collabed with Google to make that happen. And yeah, that's, I think, where that got lost at. Like, something had to go.
Well, I'm very disappointed because I was set, like, take my money. My weekend check just hit. Samsung, hand me my watch.
I know, and I kept trying to get you to not do that. Because here's the thing. There have been a few different watch based glucose monitors over the years. Every few years, one comes out. And generally, they've all, I think, have the same exact problem. Because it's great if your blood sugar stays in normal range.
Right.
Like, if you live between 75 and 150, the watch works great. It'll tell you with accuracy what your glucose is.
Right.
Or with enough that it's not a big deal. The only problem is the people that are interested in that function are people who don't live in the 75 to 150 range ordinarily.
Right.
Like, they make excursions in that range if
Right.
they don't live there.
Right.
So yeah, it was going to be a great idea, and has been a great idea to have something wearable that was easy, that didn't require a blood stick.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, it's never panned out so far.
So far, I know, Brenda, it was going to be my Christmas present to me,
Oh
and
yeah,
now we're hoping for Apple.
yeah,
Like,
he's hoping for Apple, and he's about this close to buying an iPhone.
yeah, like I will jump ship.
I know, right? But yeah, and I don't know. I'm not thinking you'll hate it if you did jump ship on phones.
I've had an
Um,
iPhone before. I had, I think it was the iPhone 2, iPhone 3.
oh yeah,
Brenda, neither will mine, and it's figuring. Well, I don't know. Lizard Spit has made them a little bit more consistent.
yeah. Right now, you're more consistent and could potentially utilize the device and just track your blood sugars with it.
Right.
Because you don't seem to be making heavy duty excursions outside of basically the normal range.
Right.
You're really not. You're not living on the even the ends of the normal range. You're smack
Hmm.
in the middle. But that's where the problem was with the other watches, is how they were making those measurements based on, I believe, sweat.
Right.
That didn't always reflect accurately.
Right.
And it led to a lot of people who were insulin dependent in ending up in some really tough situations.
Right.
Especially for people who were using that to decide how much insulin they should dose before dosing their insulin.
Right.
So they were thinking that, oh, well, the watch says my blood sugar is, like 115.
Hmm.
I need this much this much insulin. And the reality was, like, yeah, it was 115 probably like 2 hours ago.
Right.
Somewhere in there, it had jumped one direction or the other, and either their blood glucose level had fallen, and that additional insulin wasn't a good idea, or it had jumped and that was nowhere near enough.
Right.
And it was kind of like all of a sudden an hour later they're sitting at, like, 50,
Right.
or they're sitting at like 300.
Right.
And so it was leading to a lot of people being in very awkward situations with those watches. Like, they can be, it's a good idea. It's a great idea. I want to see the idea work. It was just like, yeah, before you buy this, I want to see the rubber meets the road on that one. Like, I want to see diabetics that buy it, wear it, and love it.
Right.
And it has accuracy.
Right. Yeah, and that happens when there's a lot of changes there.
Well, I mean, technically, your glucose could be on demand. I mean, how much do you like feeling like a pincushion?
Right.
I mean, seriously, it can be.
Right. Well, one of our friends has the patch thing,
Mhm.
which I may talk to Doc about.
Yeah. Well, the subdermal implants, aren't they?
No, it's just a patch. You put it on 3 days and then take it off,
Oh, okay, cool deal.
or a
I
week
thought
or
they,
whatever.
I didn't think that was entirely a patch. I thought it still had, like, a piercing component.
Yep.
Alrighty. Yeah, Ashley's like, no, trying to get away from that one.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Dexicon, I believe it is the one I'm looked at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does pierce. The patch does pierce.
Yep.
That's what I thought. I thought it had a little needle in it.
Yeah, it's got a filament.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, that's not really, like, it's way more convenient. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, it's still a pain. It's still, like, not the best, like, you'd think we'd be a little further down the road here and you wouldn't have to jab someone to find this out.
Yeah, Dexicom's the one I'm looking at. Anything that is labeled freestyle is made by one company, and I'm not really happy with that company to begin with.
Yeah, Brenda says thumbtack, Joe. And I'm like, yeah, see, no.
Yeah, no, that's what it feels like, is you're sticking yourself with a thumbtack.
Yeah.
All right. And then, their phones, or should I call them foldable tablets? Like, my tablet is smaller than some of these phones they put out.
Okay. Oh, yes, yes, yes. So Samsung and their Z Fold series.
Yeah.
Or Z Flip and Z Fold series. Their Z series. So they Samsung did something they haven't done in a very long time. They didn't release a new Galaxy model.
Right.
Or at least not a new Galaxy Note.
Right.
Which basically tells you they're really trying to push the Z series hard.
Mm-hmm.
Because where these are foldable screen phones, it does mean that you're getting close to like shared market space.
Right.
Especially when you count in that the Z Fold has a stylus.
Right.
Which, yeah, that's kind of like the big deal for the Note series. Yeah.
Yeah, but listen to this. To fix the foldable one, if it breaks, $369. The display cover is $99. The Galaxy Z Fold is going to be about $500 to fix, and to fix the replace cost as a $149. So this is even more like expensive to even deal with.
Well, they are very expensive to flip. It's because you have basically 2 to 3 times the amount of screen,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a very different kind of screen.
Right, but
Um,
in general, to go buy one is 500 and 600 respectively. So it's over half the cost of the phone.
well, and I don't think that's 100% accurate. On the pricing of the phones, I think that is subsidized.
Right.
Like, I think that's what you walk into Verizon, AT&T, whatever, and you will pay for a new phone
Mm-hmm.
if you are like, getting it subsidized.
Right.
Um, Not exactly what you're going to spend if you have to buy one outright.
Right.
Which, if you break it and you do not have their $12.99 a month care plan, plus the additional like 250, I think it is,
Mm-hmm.
for their oh, I forget the word. Oh, I keep wanting to say deposit, but that's not
Right.
right. Deductible. That's
Right.
what I'm trying to get to. If you so you have to keep 250 deductible ready, in addition to the fact you're spending $12.99 a month.
Right.
And assumably, you're going to be doing that for right now. The general contract length is no longer 2 years, it's now 30 months.
Mm-hmm.
So 2.5 years.
Right.
So most likely you're going to end up with that $12.99 a month. Technically, you're probably going to end up with it forever because you're going to forget to turn it off.
Right.
Because that's the bread and butter.
Yeah.
Like, they love that money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they will never come back and say, hey, you switched phone companies and you don't need this.
Right.
Or your phone's 4 years old, dude. Like, you really, like, you're wasting money.
Right.
But $12.99 times 30 months is already $389.70 plus the $250 deposit or deductible, $639.70.
Right.
So you're already more than halfway to the new phone, if not a little more than halfway.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, it helps.
Yeah.
It helps.
Right.
And if you do break the screen a lot, I mean, granted, you'll be spending 700, like, because it only covers like 3 replacements, I believe. Yeah. Anyway, it was something like 3 or 4 replacements.
Yeah.
Before they will absolutely tell you no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot of money to fix it. It's also a lot of inconvenience to fix it, because the one thing we lack is the actual ability to get a loaner phone.
Right.
Like I've it has been years since I've heard of a company offering a loaner phone, even if you are a flagship customer.
Right.
Like they don't do loaner phones.
Right.
So that means you've got to have a phone to back up to, as in you're going to have something until this comes in.
Right.
Because you know it's going to take, like if you're going through the repair program and they're doing a legit repair, not a replacement, the replacement is typically a week, unless you pay an additional fee for them to expedite it. Or you've got to wait at least a week for them to fix it. I would say probably, 10 business days. So you're looking at 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a long time in the 21st century to be without your phone.
Right. Very much so. All right. I'll be back. I gotta go hit a button.
Okay. And actually talking about why that's not really a thing. Basically it's gotten to a situation that it can be hard to get the loaner phone back. Plus you are effectively doing with cell phones and technology and breakable technology sort of what you do like running enterprise or budget or U-Haul is you're renting out something for temporary use to people that really don't have to care about it. You really don't. And then what do they do if you break it? And what is their budget there for if it gets broken?
Right.
Now I always think it should like drop down to like whatever their free phone of the month is.
Right.
Like God knows you obviously have enough of those to offer them for free.
Exactly. And that's normally 2 to 3 year old phones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a 2 to 3 year old budget phone.
Right.
So if you can offer it for free, or like usually it's like a $49.99 cash price, I think those should become loaner phones. Like, hi, just keep a stack of them. And if someone has to do a warranty replacement, here you go. And if they don't return it or they destroy it or whatever happens, take the write-off and call it a day.
Exactly, because they're going to make more out of the plant. That's just my opinion. All right. So.
Well, but here's the problem with it is a lot of people that are paying for a premium phone hate this.
Yeah.
Like you do, and I will say this because hi, let me grab it. Welcome to my Note 10. I don't know that I can function on a freebie phone. Like my brain would explode. Like, yes, I can place calls. Yes, I can send text messages, but my world's going to be screwed for the entire time it's gone. Meanwhile, I do two-factor authentication. So that means before you can send this phone anywhere, I have to go reset all my two-factor authentication. And then when my phone comes back, I'm going to have to do it again.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be really upset.
Well, see, and here's the thing, and this is what I don't get, because there's a place over in, like, one of the malls that does this. You take your phone in, and boom, it's fixed.
Yeah. Well, now there are kiosks that will do that, but there is still, well, and she's talking about Apple she literally, Ashley does not want to deal with the 2-hour wait to get it fixed at Apple.
Yeah.
I can understand that. I seriously understand that. Can be a lot to ask for someone to do. Especially when you're busy, and assuming that even if it's convenient to you, like, well, I'm going to go across town and do this. When do you do it? Like, if you work Monday through Friday, all the hours they're, open, then yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, those also aren't authorized repair sites. Yeah, there you go. Like she was hearing what you said. And Apple has really got a stranglehold in that authorized repair space.
Right. I still think Ashley would get told, "Oh, you need a new phone."
Yeah. Well, and
can't
that's
fix it.
probably why Ashley would be sitting there waiting with it. Because I believe there were some indications shown that at Apple, if you don't wait with your device, you are more likely to be told it is unfixable.
Yep.
As in, they never bothered to open it and see what was wrong. They just told you to buy a new one.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, I'd be waiting too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if there's a chance it can be fixed,
I'd
be waiting.
Right. All right. Well, something's been breaking the news, and let's talk about this. Yeah, there's a lot of people that about ready need to go and find a new platform.
Oh, yeah, that's that. Okay. Well, it's not so much breaking the internet as definitely throwing one more
It's
log
breaking
onto
the internet. When I opened up, because I have alerts for the latest headlines. And I'm like, huh? And literally, there's like 27 articles from every news source in the world about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's been a. Excuse me, guys. It's been like the stable alternative for a while now for sex workers,
Right.
especially cam workers, to have a space that allows their content, doesn't put them in this weird token private show thing, and it's literally a direct money. It's basically Patreon, I think, with slightly higher rates, though.
Right, but on Patreon they can host the same thing. However, they have to have their own social media following. Yes, it's the problem that we have seen and talked about a lot over on the Psychic Coffee Shop. The credit card processors are refusing to process credits unless they ban it. So it's lose your credit card processor or lose, lose your content and hopefully salvage some of the other content.
Yeah, and all this goes back to the concept of sex trafficking.
Right.
And the fact that that's starting to become a word that you think you know what it means until you see how legally it's defined. And effectively what happens is people are technically using the word correctly when they're talking about sex trafficking. And saying that, well, OnlyFans is a huge, platform for sex trafficking. That's true, because the definition for sex trafficking is so effing wide that a lot of things that you would not necessarily, as a general person on the street, think of as like human trafficking, sex trafficking, are sex trafficking. Like, you think you have this idea of people being abducted and forced into this, and like they have no other choice. There's, a pimp that gets money or a madam that gets money, and they're very cruel and abusive, and they're being denied access to healthcare and passports, and forced to have multiple partners per day. Like, this is what you think it is. But legally, the definition is if you, as an individual, open an OnlyFans account and you do any kind of nudity, technically, and you get paid for that, technically, that's sex trafficking. You made a choice. You are not doing anything you want or don't want to do, or more importantly, you've at least made a choice that you would prefer this over something else, and not in a totally abusive way. Like, no one's threatening to hit you. Like, yeah, your landlord's going to throw you out if you don't pay your rent, but like, hi, that, that would mean that working at like anywhere would be a form of human trafficking.
Right, and that's the
Oh,
legal definition, is what we're explaining, Ashley. This is how open the legal definition is.
mhm.
Like, it is written so broadly that they could apply it to anything.
Mhm.
You know,
That involves the least amount of nudity.
exactly.
Like, if you're working in a strip club, that's sex trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there's a lot of people who are strippers. There are a lot of people who use this to fund their college education. They make great money. They are not in the least bit harmed by the experience. Like, they work for great clubs. Those great clubs have nice security, and they are really kind to the people who work there and treat them appropriately.
Right. But
This is not what you think of.
exactly. But I'm going to take a different angle here. If you're working on OnlyFans, done told you a long time ago, you needed to diversify. You needed to hop over on Just for Fans and, whatever sites fit your situation. If you are working one website, there's a disadvantage.
Always.
There's loyalfans.com, there's minivids, there's Just for Fans,
Mm-hmm.
there's Fan Central. Those are just 5 alternatives out there. Yeah, the payout's a little different. Everything is a little different. But this is the thing with online businesses. Like, King goes down to tomorrow for me. Well, guys, you're going to see me over at Psychic Directory because I'm already there. You're going to see me over at Zodiac because I'm already there.
Well, moreover, having the failover. Like, this is
Exactly.
what's called when it's not just diversification. Like, diversification, you sit there and think, okay, someone's going to be on all these platforms at the same time
Mm-hmm.
and provide the exact same level of content. No, we're talking more so failover. Is just go ahead and have your failovers, update them maybe less, like choose the one that gets you the best rates,
Right.
makes you the best money, and put your eggs mostly in that basket.
Mm-hmm.
But then also be able to fail over and be like, hey guys, I'm over here too. Like, I'm leaving this. I'm going to be moving the same level and amount and quantity and whatever of content over here.
Mm-hmm.
And then go do that. And know that as other sites pop up, you need to go ahead and get your account, go ahead and reserve that username,
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and start posting to it a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
like add it into your social media mix, and understand that at some point the site you just went to may do the exact same thing that just happened, or you could get banned for a totally different reason.
Right.
And be prepared you're going to have to keep moving. And that is sad and unfortunate, but it doesn't just apply to sex work.
No,
It
this
doesn't
is online
apply.
business in general.
Yeah.
But the problem is sex workers in general get discriminated just as much as we psychics do. Sorry, we do.
Well, and every site
Yeah.
goes through its own thing. And it's not just the type of work you do, it could be your personality.
Yeah.
Like, like I always think of like there was a restaurant at the beach. I think it's called Dick's.
Right.
It's like Dick's Crab House or Dick's Crab Shack or Dick's Last Resort, something like that. Anyway, they are well known
Uh-huh.
for the fact that this isn't like an inverse customer service experience.
Mm-hmm.
Your waiter is encouraged to insult you
Mm-hmm.
and to be hateful and to whatever. Like, they still take care of you. They still make sure you get your drinks. They still whatever. But it's like you ask for more napkins and they get to call you names.
Right.
You're a messy fucking slob. And go on.
Right.
And it's no big deal. And everyone laughs and it's fun and it's great. But that's what you would call bad customer service and I need to see your manager moment anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have that understanding before you walk in the door.
Right.
Now, that works great for them as a restaurant. That works great for them when people know what's going on. But I am sure on a social media platform that they've had issues with their customer service for people who didn't get it, either on the like level of, you know, running social media platforms as a whole. Like, I'm sure they would have been, you know, potentially banned from Facebook once or twice, found themselves in Facebook jail, and had issues out of Twitter that, you know, this isn't appropriate, doesn't meet our community guidelines, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
It can be your personality. It can be appreciated by other people, but it doesn't mean you're always going to have the best, like, you're atypical at this point.
Right.
You don't fit the mold. You're not doing the thing they expect you to do. So you're going to face some wrath for that.
Right.
And you're going to have to put up with some extra bullshit because they're not, like, it doesn't fit. Like 99.9% of companies would do this. You're over here doing this. And no, we need you to act like them. And you're like, but that's not even our brand.
Exactly.
That's not our thing. That's not what we do. That's a, like, it's fortunate that people get that the Wendy's account on Twitter, like their social media. And I give them a special credit because they've been very carefully playful. Like, they get aggressive, but not too aggressive. Like, they've hit this Goldilocks zone that it's funny and people like it without ticking off everyone else.
Right. But the point being, and Ashley, accountants, not just sex workers, regular accountants, are used to this. Like,
well, no, she was saying, what about accounts that aren't just sex work? So if you have an account and it has nothing to do with sex work,
it doesn't matter. If it's got adult content, they're closing it. They're banning it.
Well, yeah. Well, moreover, on the OnlyFans side of it. But no, I was going to go ahead and go one step further and say, even if your business has nothing to do with sex work, even if it has nothing to do with the occult, even if you are sitting over here knitting cute little baby bonnets, and that's what you do, and that's it, it is as wholesome as apple pie, have your backups.
Yes.
Because it takes next to nothing sometimes to find yourself embroiled in a controversy that suddenly applies to you. You're not doing anything wrong in any form of, like, you know, moral objectivity. Like, everything you're doing is as wholesome as apple pie. Literally, like, you could do it in church and no one's going to complain. I consider it wholesome as apple pie.
Right.
That's where I'm at with that. But you can still run into problems.
Right.
As in, you know, and there's no telling what it may be. It could be silly. It could be stupid. It could be, you know, environmental. Whatever it is, have your backup platforms ready. Always have your backup platforms ready. Be ready to go somewhere else and show up there.
Right.
I am not craving apple pie tonight. Like,
I feel the oil burner, honey, so.
Well, that's true too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could certainly go for one of those fried, like, chocolate pies. Or maybe the Boston cream one.
Where you been, girl? Glad to see you back.
Hello, Kathy. And hello, Sandy.
Yes.
I can talk tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
But yeah, have your backup accounts. I don't care what you do online. Always have a backup and keep backups. Like, I have digital backups of profiles and pictures and things out there that are mine. They're on my hard drive. Within this year, we've lost computers and I've been back up in like 3 days.
At most.
Yeah.
Like, you're basically functional within we get a new computer turned on.
Yeah.
Like, give it an hour for everything to download, you're basically functional. But yeah, no. So no, not craving apple pie. It's just the wholesomeness aspect. I can't say wholesome without saying.
I get so tired though of like sites like OnlyFans, sites like this, that it's not the site that's doing it.
Hmm.
It's
poor
the
Kathy.
credit
We'll
card
get there in a second.
processors, the people
Yeah.
we pay to handle our money.
Well, fundamentally, and it has more to do with we have not globally recognized sex work as, and speaking specifically to that, we have not recognized sex work as legitimate work in terms of it's not being illegal work and not being something that we should prosecute and try to necessarily stop from happening.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's the argument. Now, separate from that, and I want to be clear, there are forms of sex work that are not sex work. They're rape, they're coercion, they're assault, they're kidnapping, they are that band. Yes, we definitely need to stop that and need to be working to stop that. And we need to sluice out companies that are doing that.
Yes.
And shut them down.
Yes.
Not the people who are making a choice, who are comfortable with what they are doing,
mm-hmm.
who are not under any form of coercion from someone else that isn't just called life.
Right.
Like, again, you know, like if you have an OnlyFans account and or you're doing sex work and you're doing it because you need to pay your rent, eat, make a car payment, you know, all the normal life things, yes, you're being coerced to do it. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, otherwise you don't eat, you get thrown out, your landlord's not happy, you know, like the car gets repossessed, you are coerced. All work has a coercion aspect to it.
Exactly.
We all have a fire lit under our ass to have employment, to make money, to do things.
Mm-hmm.
That's different than literally having someone else force you to give them your money and you live in squalid conditions despite the fact you made money that could have gone to a much better living condition mm-hmm. than what you have, and it is primarily benefiting them, not you.
Right.
As well as, you know, rape, assault, etc. That's different.
Yes, this is different. And I'm going to say this, there are some that get grouped into adult entertainment that enjoy their jobs.
Hi, Les. We do need a date of birth for you. That includes month, day, and year. And dear God, Kathy, we are so sorry to hear. Yeah. Sorry, I was reading earlier and like we couldn't quite stop right then to comment, but oh my goodness.
Yes.
We hope you're feeling so much better now. And we'll be feeling better soon. Sorry, I was still processing the last comment.
Well, and there's just a lot of things going on there, and with the sex work in general, or what gets it, I'm going to stop calling it sex work. It is adult entertainment. It is one of the oldest forms of business, how there ever is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are people that enjoy it. That's, you know, my work is considered adult entertainment. I enjoy my work. I'm not coerced into it.
No. Nor are you exploiting others.
No.
Like, no. Like, no.
Yeah, we don't play that. But what I'm saying is these companies, and the bigger problem is like the companies are given power to the people we hire to handle our money. MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Fifth Third Bank are the ones that are doing this.
Yeah. Well, and it has a lot of, you know, this nobility attached to it.
Yeah.
You know, we shut down thousands of people who were, you know, engaging in sex work and you know, sex trafficking. And it's like, no, you didn't. You starved a bunch of people who were perfectly fine and happy, you know, while with a surgical position, precision of like, you know, napalm.
Right.
you took down like probably 3 people who were exploiting others.
Yeah, speaking of exploiting others.
Oh, see, hi. No, we don't do that. We don't play like that. We don't enjoy that. So, bye,
Yeah.
any default
Bibbity, bobbity, block, delete. Have a good day, Annie.
name.
Huh?
Any defola? Any defola? Any defola? Any defola? I got nothing there. Like, it
Yep.
wasn't even cute. Like, I like names. Like, if you're going to use a fake name, at least let me have fun. Like, Ava Braun was fun. Like, that's a good one. But no, like, if you're going to create a name and you're going to come in and you're going to do this crap, then please at least have a name that makes me giggle. That's all I ask.
Yep.
Like, Seymour Butts. Like,
Make
I
it
would
interesting.
appreciate a, you know, spammer named Seymour Butts.
Yep. All right. Take on Lee. Well, take Lee.
All righty, or less even.
Less.
So less 215.79. I need to know if Brittany is being sincere about her wanting to get back together.
Yes, I feel like she is being sincere, but here's the thing. It's not get back together, it's get together. You guys have to start from the beginning. Like, hello, my name is Brittany. This is what I expect out of a relationship. Hi, my name is, Les. This is what I expect out of a relationship. Can you hit those boxes? Because there is so much water and problems under the dam, it's ridiculous, and the fear is like a suitcase.
Oh, Kathy points out Les and Kathy have been friends for over 15 years. If you want its true answers to come here, awesome.
Yes.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
But yes, I am taking questions. We just didn't turn it on tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Gwen, I agree. It's just trying to control where they can.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and moreover, it's this weird backward situation in which you're defining what is and isn't a moral way to make money, while simultaneously forgetting that there's like, pharmaceutical companies charging $500 for an EpiPen. We had the whole Daraprim incident, the anti-malarial drug, and the most punchable man in America. That you don't have a problem with all these other like super harmful ways of making money. Like, you're like, sorry, let's get real. You're letting a lot of businesses are getting away with a lot of really, really shit things in terms of global effect towards other humans. And I'm not just talking about like global warming and dumping chemicals. Like, let's just forget that. Like, they're irredeemable. But I mean like human effect. Like, right. Our entire employment experience and the fact that we use healthcare as an employer-provided benefit to manipulate employees into staying with their employers and, strike busting and union busting. Like, hi, let's talk about that if you want to talk about all the, immoral things going on in employment spaces. It has a lot less to, harm is coming from, dicks, vaginas, and any other form of genitalia on the internet.
Right.
Like, that's not.
Yeah, but this is a great lesson that creators need to be looking at. Like, let's just not even talk about my psyche business. Let's talk about my social media. I'm on TikTok. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. We are everywhere. Here's why. It's because one day they may not be there. You guys need
or they may not be there for us. They may not be there for us.
Yeah.
They may take one look at my name and think it's something, or take one look at Mystic and see it as something else.
Yeah.
They may, decide that this isn't a legitimate profession and that there's too many people offering bad advice, so everyone who does this is a bad person.
Right.
Like, no. Like, well, and then like Gearfield specifically gets trashed for the number of chargebacks for people that get ticked.
Yeah.
One, because either they talk to someone they legitimately shouldn't have, like they're bad,
Right.
or they're on the flip side of it and they came in with bad intentions from the word go
Mm-hmm.
and went ahead and just exploited someone who was on network taking calls, ready to help them out, and they didn't want to pay for it. Like they wanted the support, the answers, the guidance, the advice, all of that. They just didn't want to pay for it. All right, and we do have questions from Ashley and Catherine.
All right, let's take them.
All right, so Ashley, 82696. There have been a lot of things presented to me recently: buying a house, finishing school, and my now postponed surgery. My birthday next week, the baby's the vow renewal next year. But what I'm looking to find out is what needs to be the top 3 that get the most of my attention first.
All right, so top 3. Well, first, yourself. Secondly, balancing out your schoolwork, college, something to do with learning. And thirdly, the children. Everything else falls into place. And then go up to the Sunny question. It's above Lee.
Oh, or above less. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry about that. So Sunny, I'm gonna read it as if Sunny asked.
Yeah.
Sunny 82991. He didn't get the position he interviewed for experience. Is there any more insight as to what his next promotion will be or when? He's currently a forklift operator.
I still feel that he gets the promotion, but it's within 3 weeks. So I don't know if they fucked up, they're giving the guy a chance, something. It doesn't work out, they come back to him.
Okay.
And yes, Ashley, my hair did get darker. I'm getting ready to go look in person, so I've got to get my show look back on.
Oh, yes. Yes, he did his hair this week. I did my hair this week. I cut my own hair.
You done it yourself too. You got all independent on me.
Mm-hmm. And Kathy, 72862.
Mm-hmm.
Is Triz coming back in my life soon? And apparently Kathy's having trouble setting up an appointment. We'll get with you on that.
Yeah,
I don't know why you're having a problem with that.
Unless she's choosing a time that I'm busy.
Well, I don't know.
Because this week my appointments have been very limited.
True.
Again, I feel like he does come back. Things come back into balance, and that you get where you needed to go. Like you ain't done with that saga yet.
All right.
Okay.
And Kathy, we missed you too.
Yes, we missed you a lot. Been wondering where you were. And you weren't on the other side because I would have got notice of that. Hot dogs that would have appeared or something. So, do y'all guys remember the gay community throwing a bitch fit over Alabama, allowing doctors to choose or refuse patients based on whatever curriculum they decided to do?
Well, moreover, do you remember that time it was decided that, you could be denied health care because of, sexual orientation or gender identity?
Mm-hmm. And, a bunch of people just went, well, that's their choice. They can choose to do that. Well, in Alabama, a doctor has pledged to stop treating unvaccinated patients.
Oh, yes.
Dr. Jason Valentine said in a letter to his patients that he could not watch more of them die from a extreme, illimitable, preventable disease.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor said he will soon be refusing treatment to unvaccinated patients in Alabama, where the low vaccination rates and high transmissibility Delta variant is overwhelming the hospitals. Dr. Valentine, a physician at Diagnostic and Medical Clinic, Medical Health in Mobile, Alabama, recently posted a photo on his Facebook page showing him next to a sign that says, effective October 1st, 2021, Dr. Valentine will no longer be seeing patients that have not been vaccinated against COVID-19. I think he's wrong.
Okay.
Since the beginning, stood against doctors going and being able to not treat patients.
There's part of me that likes this story. Like, there's a part of me that is going to invariably like the irony of it.
Right.
I love irony. Like, you have said, like, as in, and I'm talking about Alabama, and I'm talking about, all the groups of people that have sat for years arguing that, we have a right to discriminate because of religious belief. We have a right to discriminate because of this. We have a right to discriminate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I love the irony.
Yeah.
I love the irony. I hate that the doctor's making or has made or tried to make this choice.
Right.
It's sounding like the doctor got smacked upside the head and told, no, you can't do that.
He's being able to do it.
Moreover, you can do that, but it also sounds like more than likely also got a lot of feedback of, do you want to keep your position with this medical practice?
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate there's, the responsibility. Like, here's your freedom of speech moment. You can do whatever you want,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't do it here.
Right.
Which is the appropriate way this works is if Dr. Valentine does not want to see any more COVID patients, that's fine. I wholeheartedly support his ability to make that choice.
Mm-hmm.
Go hang your own shingle. Go open your own physical business.
Mm-hmm.
Go do that on your own. See how that works. That's the responsibility that you have for your actions
Mm-hmm.
that you are free to take. That part I'm fine with. I still think it's a horrible choice. I think it's horrible healthcare. I think it is just lending credence to all the people that want to find or want to have legal reasons to discriminate against others for healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a bad choice. I think it's horrible. I think this is not what healthcare should be. I all of it.
Right.
I'm there.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, but if you want to do that,
mm-hmm.
yeah, here's your responsibility. You're going to have to go hang your own shingle and try it on your own.
Right.
And see how that works out for you. It's going to be more expensive. You're going to have to basically rebuild a practice from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
And you're probably going to have some issues with your medical license.
Right. But they're not.
Well,
Alabama, because they were the original discrimination. This is why that in New York they can ask you for your vaccination card, thanks to Cake Baker.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So yes, there's a couple more questions we have coming in, just
Sure.
as a heads up. So Ashley 82696, is my breastfeeding journey almost coming to an end with baby guest?
I'm going to be polite in what was handed to me. Yes. Very much so, it's coming to an end. At least this round.
All righty. And Kathy has a second question, 72862. So Peanut has been throwing up for 2 months now. I have spent thousands on him and I'm broke. What should I do? I'm assuming pet.
Yes. Peanut is a pet. He has a Chihuahua. And he is getting upset by his food. So, Kathy, this is what I want you to do. I want you to get a chicken breast. I want you to get a couple chicken breasts. You can make this in a pot. You get some chicken breasts. You grab some rice. You grab some peas. You boil it for about 30 minutes until the chicken is cooked. You shred it. So it's little tiny pieces because peanut's small, and you feed him a quarter of a cup twice a day. His problem is he cannot digest the dog food that he's being fed because I don't think that it's good for him.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Now you got some comments here.
Alrighty. Okay, so where do we want to start on comments?
Ashley, right below Kathy.
Alrighty. I think if they can deny for any reason, like discriminate against orientation or gender, the vaccine status is fair to discriminate against as well.
Yeah.
Kathy says doctors are supposed to take patients not over whether they have the COVID vaccine, just take precautions. Again, this is what you would expect.
Yeah.
They, like on that note, I will say this is what you would expect.
Yeah.
Now, I can understand doctors having the discharge moment of like, look, I've sat with this patient. I've tried to explain to this patient. They are making super bad health choices and ignoring all medical advice.
Mm-hmm.
We can't get along.
Right.
I understand discharging patients for that. I don't think you should be taking that on a single issue, however.
Right.
All right. Do y'all know how, and Ashley says, do y'all know how people, schools, doctors, etc., are confirming the vaccine cards with the fraudulent vaccine cards now being caught more?
I don't know how they're doing it, and if I did, I wouldn't be releasing it because they need that 5 years in jail.
Yeah. I think it, like, my best guess would be, the problem with a forgery is always that you're going to copy. So at some point, the forgery becomes really easily identifiable. One forgery is hard to spot. Two forgeries are hard to spot.
Right.
But the more forgeries you have, the easier it is to spot. They'll all have the same problems. Because the problem with forgery has always been, and it's the reason why, like, you really have to work hard at this point.
Mm-hmm.
If you, for instance, want to counterfeit money, it's another form of forgery, counterfeiting. If you want to counterfeit money, you have a few obstacles to overcome. Getting the right paper, getting the security strips or something to look like it, getting the paper to react the right way because it's not actually paper, getting the right shades of ink. But moreover, all those notes are serialized. They have a serial number. The problem with forgeries is you can get the reproduction and you can get, if you work really hard, all the right components. But getting that process to work in a way that perfectly mimics how money is actually made is next to impossible. You have to have a government printing press for money to make money. And even then, all those serial plates are, they're not like a counter. It's not like a stamp and it rotates.
Right.
It doesn't do that. Those are specific plates that are stamped and then used. And then they're melted back down. If I remember correctly from, long ago, they're melted back down and reused and remade, restamped over and over and over again. So every piece of money is a little bit different. And that's what makes it unique. When you do any kind of forgery, you're going to have a reproduction of the same problem because you don't have the same scale of production. So you're going to be using generally available equipment one way or another. And so once you finally got it to work, you're going to, over time, have some flaw that reproduces itself over and over and over again. So once you catch the flaw once, you know what to look for. You start finding all the forgeries.
Right. That does remind me of something that we need to add to our packing list.
Oh,
Our
our
vaccination
government
cards.
printing press? Oh,
No,
our
our vaccination cards. All right.
Oh, that sounds lovely. Ah, I'm a little late. Hot tub and prosecco. Oh, that sounds glorious.
Hot
I'm
tub
sorry. I'll say this against this. Why did you show up here? Like you had a hot tub and
prosecco. Well, continuing on this thread,
Mhm.
Mississippi. And Mississippi has a very high rate of COVID, and they should not be having to, they should be talking numbers and getting your vaccination and everything like that. Not what's going on in Mississippi. No, Mississippians are unfortunately buying animal medicine, namely dog dewormer, to treat COVID-19 at home.
Oh, was it dog dewormer or horse dewormer? I
Horse
thought it was
dewormer, dog. It's the same. The horse is the
well,
easiest.
it's livestock dewormer.
Yeah.
Okay, got what you're saying there.
Yes.
Oh.
Ivermectin is not a treatment for COVID.
No. Well, and moreover, like, I get there have been a lot of, or that there is a lot of anger in the
Right.
medication sphere, that there are medications that overlap.
Right.
That, effectively the Xanax you give your dog for storms isn't all that much different than the Xanax you would take.
Right.
And it leads people to do it, either way. Either, trying to break a, pill down that they have for animal consumption,
Mm-hmm.
or getting a pill for their dog and taking it themselves.
Right.
Neither of which is ever a good idea. And it's for exactly what they say. Is these, like, when you're talking about livestock aren't human?
Right.
Like, can we just clarify that? All medication is poison. It's poison with a benefit. But
Right.
when we're looking at that, using poison as a benefit, we're looking at doing that based on certain assumptions.
Right.
Like the size of the animal
Mm-hmm.
that it's going into, and that's just the active ingredient. Then we have things like buffers that we're also looking at what is best for this animal or these animals. How can these animals best absorb this? Again, you're not thinking about this being used in humans.
Right.
Like you are, and so, yeah, it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's a bad idea. Don't play with animal meds.
Right.
Like, I would have thought this shit was over with ketamine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember that, like, happening way back when, and which is a horse tranquilizer, by the way, that was so flippin' common on farms, and then someone found out that you can get high off of it. They also use it a lot in surgery to knock people out. It's also technically considered a date rape drug.
Right.
Like a lot of different uses for ketamine. Like, it's so versatile. Not trying to make light of it, though, is that this is a really bad idea to start screwing with animal meds. Now we can sit here and have the argument, which I think is like a false flag or like a false argument, over whether these meds are made in the same safe conditions, etc.
Okay. So ivermectin was another one of those. Well, go drink bleach
Yeah.
treatments.
Yeah.
There's two different ones. One is used in humans, and one is used in animals. Humans take a less amount of it, doesn't do it, does not treat COVID, thought possibly couldn't treat COVID, does not treat COVID. But people are taking, no. Like, hello, has our brain just gotten to where it's not processing scientific data anymore because the hers and the hims think for us now?
I think there's this weird thing that happened years ago. Is that there is an overlap
Mm-hmm.
between, effectively it's all the same poison, it's just different doses.
Right.
And this like general understanding that a doggy Xanax does the same thing as a human Xanax,
No.
and it's literally Xanax.
No.
And this belief that you can circumvent, healthcare providers,
Mm-hmm.
pharmacies,
Mm-hmm.
and just go and get livestock meds from wherever and use them to treat yourself
Right.
instead of dealing with this, medical system that's going to argue about your stance on vaccination, that's going to argue about your stance on holistic meds, especially when it's things like to treat your cancer. Like,
Right.
no, we don't use holistic healthcare practices to treat cancer. We
Right.
use it to help with symptoms, to help make people more comfortable, to
Mm-hmm.
help people through their treatment. Like, that's what you use holistic medicine for. It can help. It can reduce your anxiety. It can do a bunch of different things, but it doesn't cure cancer.
Right.
Like, that's where that is.
Right.
But there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a whole community that is happy to take your money to tell you secrets that they don't want you to know. And I think that's where all this got started, is the author who made those words famous.
Right.
Yeah. Hi, Justin. Yeah. Special K, ketamine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's used in surgery. It helps to knock people out.
Right.
Like, it as I understand it, the effect of ketamine is, one, it makes you drowsy. Two, it makes you more susceptible, as in you are more open to suggestion. It's disinhibiting, and it also interferes with memory creation.
Right.
It's also why it's the perfect date rape drug.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm giving you advice for how to commit date rape, because it's already out there. It's been a staple for years. Like, please don't do that. But that's the fundamental effect that ketamine has. Now, there are people who enjoy those effects because there's also like a bit of a euphoria, and if you balance your dosing right, yada yada yada, you could have a great time. I'm putting all of this in air quotes. If you're listening, not watching this, I'm putting a lot of things in air quotes, so please keep that in mind. Because again, that's effectively in a situation where you're playing doctor with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
or you're letting someone who probably didn't pass high school chemistry play doctor with you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a very powerful drug.
Yes.
Not
Are there,
fentanyl.
because this isn't the only one that, ketamine and this horse dewormer is not the only ones at all.
Oh God, ketamine and Xanax? Jesus Christ, what kind of zombie does that create?
Nuclear
Good
zombie.
God.
Hi, Dottie, by the way.
Hi, Dottie.
How are you, honey?
Sorry.
Yeah,
Like,
don't be trying ketamine. Don't be trying horse dewormer either, or fish antibiotics.
well, yeah, it's not even that it's a conspiracy theory joke, Brenda. It's that it's a conspiracy theory. It's where we're living in 2021 is one conspiracy theory to the next,
Mm-hmm.
and each one gets more insane.
Mm-hmm.
They call it forget-me-nots. I think that goes the other direction there, Justin. I think that's called forget every fucking thing that night.
Mm-hmm.
Like what night, what day, what year is it?
Right.
Like that's what that sounds like to me.
Right.
I'm sure that the forget-me-nots is kind of the like it's a play on words.
Very much so. But, speaking of forget-me-nots, well, you Republican governors who ended unemployment benefits early. Let's see what the payoff was.
Nothing. That was the payoff. You fucked everyone. That's what you did.
Yeah.
Short version. Let's get to the short version. You fucked everyone.
Yeah, places that continued the unemployment benefits rose about 24.9% of workers who were on unemployment found jobs in July in those states. The opt-out program contained workers who about 21.5% of workers found jobs in July.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't do jack shit except hurt people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and moreover, and what it was all about, it had nothing, and it's sad, it had such a horrible effect on people who were unemployed.
Mm-hmm.
And it had nothing to do with them, except continuing the narrative that unemployed people are lazy. That's it. That's what it does. Right. More importantly, our unemployment statistics, our unemployment like mental process doesn't really care where you work.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't care about underemployment. It doesn't care about needing multiple jobs to survive. It doesn't care about, taking jobs in toxic workplaces. It doesn't take into account all the other things that go with employment. It just is a binary employed, unemployed. It also doesn't care about people who give up.
Right.
That for any number of reasons, and in any number of ways, end up long-term, consistently, or even permanently unemployed.
Right. Now, here what it does affect. According to the papers, it estimated an $8 billion drop in spending during September and October. People got tighter with their money, which slows down the economy.
Yeah. I want to go back to this one real quick, and then we'll get right back into the story. So Dottie points out dog dewormer does work on people. It kills worms. Yes, but that's because it's the same medication.
Right.
Only prescribed by a doctor for that in dosing that works for human patients.
Yes, it does not treat COVID-19.
Yeah, it does not work for COVID-19. Doesn't work for that at all. So yeah, I just want to go there. That's where we have I want to be really clear what we're saying. So anyway, back to unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I've always hated the way we talk about unemployment, the way we treat unemployment, the way we treat unemployed people. What the hell?
Yeah.
What the hell? Like, and even the unemployment that you get, there's this pipe dream. And I mean, you got to be smoking a pipe to dream this up, that unemployment provides a legitimate income that someone can live on. It does not. It does not. Unemployment, even as it is not encouraging people to remain unemployed. No one's happy on unemployment. No one's living high on unemployment. Moreover, our unemployment system and the underfunding of it and the, ridiculously low payments that it provides are almost like a slow rip of a Band-Aid for people who are unemployed.
Right.
It's getting just enough money and keeping just enough stress trying to juggle everything while slowly one chainsaw falls after another.
Right.
That's what unemployment is. That is having just enough money to try to figure out if you pay your car payment this month. Do you buy food this month? Do you pay rent this month? Do you pay the utilities this month? What do you pay? Because you're not going to get enough to do much of anything.
Right.
And you're certainly not getting enough to do it all.
Right.
No, $787 a month is not livable. That's West Virginia specifically.
Yeah. $787 a month is not livable.
And that's if you max it out.
Right. So $1,087 is not livable.
No.
Not for a household of 3 or a household of 4.
It's not even livable for a household of 1.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, I've been there. I've my first job out of college was $30,000 a year in Raleigh/Durham, North Carolina. Good effing luck on $30K a year, and that's pre-tax. Good luck. Good luck trying to live on that. And that's what we originally created minimum wage for. Was, and I know we're moving away from the unemployment debate to the minimum wage.
We're moving right with it because I'm
kind of all circles together. Well, it all circles together.
Right.
Is that if you're trying to give people assistance, cash assistance, this is where this is at, to help as a safety net to cushion them in a difficult time like unemployment, disability, etc. If you're trying to do that, you're failing.
Yes.
There's no safety net.
Right.
Like the safety net looks like something you catch a whale with.
Right.
But you don't catch anything smaller than a whale.
Exactly.
Everyone else is falling through. You can't, like 1 in a million shot, you're going to get just enough in unemployment to keep your life together for 5 minutes.
Yes. And I also want to point out these numbers do not include people that work for themselves, freelancers, any of that. Because we don't get unemployment.
Yeah. Well,
all right, so I'm posting my book recommendation to anybody needing work and money right now. It's going through everywhere. It's work from home while you roam. This book was originally written for people to work anywhere as they travel the country. I love Robin's work. It's a great author. I want to get her on. But it has jobs in there for everybody.
Absolutely. And that it's and it's wonderful that, but I want to go back and Facebook user, you're showing up as Facebook user. I'm assuming same Facebook user who's in the hot tub. I want your life and your hot tub. Like you can just give me the hot tub. That'd be cool. Just saying things I want. Christmas gift ideas. What? I got to drop it in there somewhere. But no, it is because this leads into a separate thing I've been meaning to talk about, and I keep forgetting to share an article. So Facebook user says, I know when I was on disability, I wouldn't have been able to pay bills, barely buy groceries and necessities for 5 people, and less than 200 I'd have gotten in a week. The extra we got because of COVID kept us from falling into debt because we could keep up with bills. Bingo. So here's the problem we're running into now, is that in addition to that, this is all what happens when you're single or when you're a single parent. Then there's what happens if you're married. And we have some really screwed up ideas about how unemployment and disability should work for married couples. Moreover, we, on an already limited, tiny, next to nothing amount of money, decide that because you're married, you can have even less than that and still survive.
Right.
And additionally, run into a situation where if someone is married and one person is disabled, the other is not, you put the unmarried or the non-disabled person on a treadmill. That if you're talking about someone that makes 6 figures a year, it's a treadmill. To someone who has seasonal employment, to someone who is not making 6 figures a year, it's not a treadmill. It's a noose. There is no legitimate way, based on the screwed up numbers we use to compute this, that have been stuck in like the 1960s, that you can, you effectively, if you're disabled, you need to marry someone who's disabled, and even then you're still screwed because you took the marriage penalty, because now you're both getting less. Right. But moreover, if you are disabled and you are with someone who is not disabled, that person either has to earn a high income or gets to constantly be the problem. So what we're seeing is more and more and more, and ironically, the same people who have been screaming about both the, lazy disabled, the lazy unemployed, and the sanctity of marriage, their combo there has led to a higher divorce rate. And now it's starting to turn into a question of, are these programs disenfranchising people, specifically people with disabilities? Are you creating a barrier to a natural right to marriage? And I'm just talking about heterosexual marriage. Like, we'll just put, gay marriage on a shelf for a minute. Heterosexual couples are breaking up because it makes better financial sense in our screwed up healthcare system, in our screwed up disability system, for those people to not be married. And then there's one more part to this that gets me, and it's called the holdout as married. And that is, if these programs can go through, disability specifically, can go through and find that you are holding out as married, meaning you present to others, or you look on, you look like you're playing house, or as my grandmother would have put it, shacking up, despite not being legally married, you can be counted as married and take the penalty.
Right.
It's ridiculous. Well, but see, Sandy, here's the thing, because Sandy points out, and then one could have a physical address, the other a P.O. box. What actually can happen in the situation is your neighbor can turn you in because they don't like you. And it triggers an investigation. And they are going to go and comb through your life and take statements from people from your friends, from literally anyone that could present, and more so with the intent to try to get the information that you look like a married couple, you act like a married couple, people think you're a married couple, you've at one time in any way, shape, or form referred to them as your other half, your partner, whatever. And that nothing's technically changed other than you got divorced.
Right.
You stayed in the house. There wasn't any other reason for the divorce. You just got divorced
Right.
because it makes more sense.
But see, here's the thing. We tout marriage in this country as the gold standard. Like, a lot of people were so happy when we got gay marriage. I was happy because it's a step closer, but it's
Mhm.
really not a step closer. It's just another shelving vehicle. It's another containment vehicle.
Well, and Sandy points out that's right, but how often does it happen? The fact that like the frequency that it happens, to me, is less important that it can.
Right.
Like, effectively, it's like the likelihood that I'm going to get arrested for crimes against nature, having sex at home in my bed with him, is low.
But it happened in
But
Maryland with 4.
right, recently.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that it's low, you still have to live with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the reality. You have to live with it. Moreover, is the secondary point of you have people breaking up a perfectly good marriage, at least on paper, and being denied a fundamental right, which is being able to get married to whomever you choose,
Mm-hmm.
and not have, not be forced in, or more importantly, out of that.
Right.
Like, we fought whole civil cases against this, like Loving versus Virginia, or Virginia versus Loving, whichever way that one goes. That was interracial marriage. We fought this over gay marriage. It's been decried a fundamental thing. And I can understand the thick skin on it. I know people who have done it. I know people who will.
Yeah.
And I'm prepared to lie my ass off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll state that right now. Like, I'm the worst person you can interview about whether someone's, got a paper divorce and a functional marriage. Like, they live as a functional married couple, but they have a paper divorce, or they're not married on paper. I'm the worst person in the world to interview because I will lie. Like, no, not what's going on at all. She caught him cheating. Like, I will go off.
Yeah. May 20th, the cops were bored in Bush, Rivers, Brooks, and, began arresting people. Yeah, Bush River, Maryland.
Yeah, Brenda, and okay, so we have covered this because now I remember Brenda was talking about my cousin got reported locally here for cohabitation. It happens. Some neighbors suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, cohabitating. Like, it is the other thing it's called. But the actual provision is called holding out as married.
Right.
In other areas, it could also be called common law marriage.
Mm-hmm.
In which you act like a married couple, you do everything like a married couple, you take on, at least as an alias, your spouse's last name.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing everything but getting the paperwork.
Right.
Or moreover, you have anything but paperwork that
Right.
says, I am married to.
Right.
Like, that's it. That's the whole thing. Oh, no, you're fine, Brenda. I caught what you meant.
Yeah.
At least you didn't say
laws that
co-inebriation.
haven't been fixed. They haven't been addressed. They're still in the books, and any cop can go and use them. We have seen them do that with tarot readers. We have seen them do that in Vienna, West Virginia. We have seen them do that in Parkersburg, West Virginia. Like, cop gets interested in old law and goes and studies it. It's like, I have to take him to the Justice of Peace, marry him on Saturday. I can take him over to Fayette County Courthouse, and as long as I use a switch smaller than my thumb, I can whip him on the court steps.
At least that's what the law says.
Yes.
At least that's what the law says.
Yes.
Now, whether you can get away with it, whether that would be a moment in which, like what could technically happen there, we don't know.
Right.
But on paper,
uh-huh,
it could happen. And moreover, it leaves me as a human being in that scenario it would leave me as a human being, one, reliant on someone else's application of the law. Moreover, because we're a gay couple at that point, we are gay married, and we don't have the appropriate gender for that law, to someone's interpretation of the law's intent,
Right.
and how that could apply, in various situations. Moreover, it leaves me without the ability to be free of abuse, or at least know that if that were to happen to me, that it's wrong and shouldn't have, and I can, take action on it. Like, just because it's very unlikely that, like, he'd get away with it, that someone's not going to step in and go, no, not happening. You're getting locked up. We don't care what the law says. Like, screw that. That's a law from 18 something. We ain't enforcing that. We're not even allowing you to go there. Just because that is the likely outcome doesn't mean that I don't still have to acknowledge, or any married woman in the state of West Virginia shouldn't have to acknowledge that there's a possibility that someone decides not to take a report on that, that someone decides not to prosecute, that someone decides that it's a law in the books. Sorry for your bad luck. That's effectively, you're depriving someone of their rights, even if there's a technical law there that says that. Right. And the fact that, no, it probably wouldn't be enforced. No, it probably wouldn't be used. No, it would probably. You still have to live under it. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So no common law in West Virginia. I checked in case I had to kick the ex out for a while back.
Yeah, it's interesting to see if you can kick them out or if you have to issue an eviction notice. Do you know?
I know, right?
Yeah, if they live with you more than 30 days, you have to issue an eviction notice.
I know. Welcome to West Virginia. Oh. But yeah.
Yeah.
And Sandra, I'm having a little problem with your comment because I don't quite follow. A lot of people will not verify because of the possibility of it coming back on something that they had done, karma. I'm not sure what you mean. Are you talking about, like, wouldn't do that with the law? Wouldn't do that with the holding out as married? Like, not sure where you're at there. So I just wanted to give you a moment there because I'm just sitting here like...
I think it's verifying the law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, eviction notice. That's what Brenda had to do, eviction notice. Oh, fun.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're going on a little longer here than we normally do. I want to thank everybody for coming and joining. It's been some interesting news stories. We will be back next Tuesday. I may pop up on live tomorrow if I've got time. Definitely probably some talking going on as we travel along because that's just fun. If you are in the Marietta area and you are wanting a detailed reading, go and check out Hidden Marietta. That's where you can book me at. You have to book through Hidden Marietta for that event.
Yes. They do take walk-ins, but I wouldn't bet on that.
Yes, I will be taking walk-ins if we've got room.
Yeah, and keep in mind on walk-ins, that can take a while.
Yep.
Like, because especially that event, you tend to book in, like, clumps.
Oh, yeah.
So it can take a while. But of course, and I'm waiting for it to scroll back around. I was right there. I was so ready.
I know.
We do want to thank our Patreon sponsors. We really do appreciate you guys. We love our baristas. So thank you, Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda Bryant, Ashley Gist, Shannon C, Shannon D, and of course the ever lovely Lady Gwendolyn. If you'd like to learn more about the show or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and become one of our baristas and all the lovely benefits that you can get by doing that, please visit PCSPnetwork.com.
Yes. And we will be back next Tuesday with the Psychic Coffee Shop. If I can breathe.
We hope. We hope. So, yeah, Sandy's updating us. There were, last they looked, 5 openings for tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes, it's counting down quick.
It is. And, you know, this one and Pagan Pride may be the only 2 live events I do this year.
I'm thinking it's definitely going to be.
Yeah.
We're crossing fingers for, everything that's scheduled for this month to be done this month. It's guys, have you seen the numbers? It's kind of scary. Wear your mask, wash your hands.
Yep.
Get your vaccination.
It's showing me 6 currently.
Oh, up to 6. Cool.
Yep.
But yeah.
You guys have a magical night, a wonderful weekend. If you haven't yet vaccinated, go to your local pharmacy, get your vaccination. On Tuesday, we will, if we get time, talk about the 3rd booster shot coming out when it's recommended. And as always, if you need me, I'm just a couple clicks away. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Let's work. Yo, it's go time, showtime, never backing down time. One shot, yo, make it count, yo. Crunch time, shine time, make this moment my time. Get a grip, yo, ready, set, go. We bring the thunder. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's go. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's go. Yeah, it's my time, yo time. Step into the spotlight. Get lit, yo. Let yourself go. On time, high time. Gotta go big time. This is it, yo. Never take no fight time. Grind time. Take it to the street time. Turn the roof off. Get loco. Game time, win time. We gon' bring it home time. No regrets now. Let it all go. We bring the time.